I think we're live. We are live. Yeah. Hey, Milan, how are you doing?
Hey, good, good.
Hey, Omar. Omar upgraded his internet, and we're still struggling with something is going on there. We'll figure it out. Oh, so okay. So let's get started here. And I think that you guys are not getting the right feed. Yeah, this should be. My voice is going to change dramatically. Just let me know if you still can hear me. You still can hear me, right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it's a bit weird, different, but yeah, we can.
I switched over. I don't know. Sometimes it switches to the Brio, the camera that I am. So it's a good camera. It's a good, but this is more focused. Like this is really more focused. Omar, are you still alive? You're still in there?
I am, yes, I am.
Milan, he said just keeping up with Visual Studio as much RAM and processing power you need. You know what you know about the machine and all that. That's pretty sweet. All right. This week I'm gonna be traveling for the rest of this week. So this week we're just gonna have this one session and maybe one more on Friday. So this session on Friday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, we're gonna be offline. But feel free. I'll go myself and kind of try to do some code rubs, try to rethink. I'm gonna take this time while I'm traveling to kind of think about how we handle the exceptions problem. How do we actually test the exceptions problem? Hey Amir, how are you? Amir Khan. Okay, so let's get started. Let's go with Milan first. Milan, is there anything else outstanding on your side of the world that you want us to care about?
Uh-huh. I mean, I have draft PR open.
Let's take a look.
There is something that I've been thinking about. So
Mhm.
it's on validation
Let's
area. So
yeah, let's do it.
mhm. I mean, that part
Let's
of the code I still didn't commit, uh,
uh-huh. Okay,
but
so it's not out
it
there. It's not
yeah
visible.
it
Okay.
yeah. So mainly it's about validation part. So when there is a query comes in my area, and then I need to execute it against some database storage, right? And then
Yeah.
you mentioned we need to validate whether it's select or something. I
Yeah.
thought of some other ideas. I mean, first thing, if that user is basically having a connection string to a database, then he also has certain restriction towards the database. If he wants to delete something, he can delete it without using our tool. The other thing is, but
Wait,
maybe
wait.
AI
How?
AI can give some query that contains deletions or
That's
something,
yeah,
and
that's
then mhm,
Yep, that's exactly the problem. The problem that's Milan, that you just hit the nail on the head there. That's exactly the problem is that you're talking to AI. There's absolutely nothing that would tell AI, hey, AI could basically send you a message and say drop all tables, and there will be no way for us to kind of find out whether, how do we protect our users from that, right?
mhm,
So just so you know, here's an idea that I had, and let's see if you like this idea. So we have an AI broker, right? And we have an AI service, right? And this AI broker and this AI service, we have an AI processing service that's sitting in front of this. So this is AI processing service right here. Okay, so far so good.
mhm,
I think our flow here, actually let's throw that away. You're you basically are starting with a query, incoming natural query, right? The first thing we basically do with incoming natural query is that we basically go in and say retrieve all tables configurations schemas,
mhm,
right? So we're basically going and saying give me all the schemas for all the tables that you have, right? And once these tables, we have all the schemas for all these tables, now we can go ahead and basically feed that, and then in here basically compose AI query, right? So you take all the table schemas, compose AI query, right? Here's the interesting part about that. When we send this to AI, right? Composing this AI query, this here says retrieve SQL query from AI. Okay, cool. That's the next step. Now here comes the interesting part. I could put this in here and say, watch this. Examine if query is read or write by AI too. Like you're basically taking the query from AI and then going back to AI and you're saying, is this query read or write?
Mm-hmm.
So query is read. If the answer is yes in here, if the answer is just read, then go ahead and run query on database. If the answer is no, it's not really read, then we need to figure out a way, right? Basically, retry. So retry is to basically go back all the way up and basically retrieve a SQL query from AI. So we're basically going to try and hit it again to get a better query. And of course, we have to be limited by the number of retries we can make. There is also one more thing that we can do, Milan, and I thought about this for a
I
second.
yeah.
Mhm. Return results. The
I
other
thought.
idea. Go ahead.
Mhm.
Go ahead.
Sorry. Yeah, I thought transaction, but yeah, yeah. Let's hear what you have to say, and then.
The other idea is to basically bake in the query that we're composing for AI to bake in it to write a read-only query. Hey, Gregory. So 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 basically go and say, okay, so Ronald says, why not give it guards when you ask the AI to come? Yeah, that's what I was saying. Like we could basically tell AI, I want to be able to, that's a good point. I want to be able to have a SQL query, but make sure that the query doesn't have any impact on the database or doesn't have any rights on the database. That would simplify that structure so much. It would make it so much easier and simpler than that.
But
But that still doesn't guarantee
yeah.
that AI is, that's the problem, right? So somehow we need to figure out a way, because there's all these write commands in SQL, like drop table, right? There is insert, there is alter, there is all of these different ones. I mean, they're a handful, right? But what do you do when the table name itself is called drop? What do you
I
do with
think
the,
I think I have some. So maybe we can take a look at this, and then if this doesn't make sense, we can go into some other solutions.
all right, what's
I
your
also
solution?
thought about it, but can I present the
Yeah, of
slide?
course you can. Gregory says truncate. Yeah, that's one of the commands that would change things. That's true. There's even worse. It could really create like a stored proc and basically tries to execute,
Okay.
on your system. Go ahead. You're gonna have to
Mhm.
zoom in a little bit. This is too far.
Okay.
AI injection. Ronald Sink. AI injection. It could be. I mean, these are strange times, Ronald. I don't know. Yeah, there could be an AI injection. Go ahead, Milan. What do you got?
Okay. So this is run query. First, we validate whether it's invalid, like null or empty.
Uh-huh.
That's a basic validation. And then what I had in mind is maybe we can wrap it inside the transaction scope. So
Okay.
how we do that? We just take the query that we got from the AI, and then we uh, create a transaction that we wrap inside there. So everything that's that's basically trying to make some changes against the database will be rolled back after this transaction is done, and we can
Ooh.
get the result.
Can
And
it?
that way we
Mhm.
don't need to think about the AI. Whatever is coming cannot change database no matter what. Not sure how expensive this is though.
It doesn't matter because the consumer of this data is, but it doesn't matter yet. Like I don't want to go into a pre-optimization mode, but let me just ask you this. So if you begin transaction, how is this going to work? Are you still going to get a result back and then you roll back everything?
Yeah, I think so. I didn't still tested it, but should work.
I don't think that's how it works, but you could
Huh?
try. I don't know. I don't know if that's how it works, but you could try for sure.
Uh-huh. The other thing is we can start a transaction that's read only, but and we don't have rollback here in that case. But it can happen that AI can have like change the mode in which transaction is, and then change
Yeah.
it to read only to write. So, but yeah.
The thing about AI is that you're basically just putting a wild cat in a bag and you're putting it in the back door of your system. And you're basically saying, I hope the cat is nice. You never know, right? Like whatever comes back, you never know, right? We just want to have, like, if there gotta be a smarter way to do this. I think this transaction is very smart if it works the way you expect. If it
Mhm.
doesn't work the way you expect, I don't know if we have a chance there. Right. I mean, do you have Microsoft SQL Studio by any chance? Can you run this on a test database or something?
Yeah, I have. I also created some test database. Let's take a look.
I like this idea a lot more. It's really, really, really smart. But assuming that it did drop table and then roll back, does it actually bring back the data and everything?
Yeah, that's what I'm also questioning now because yeah, I'm also not that experienced with the databases. Let's see.
Let's see.
Okay.
Let's see what Ron is saying here. Isn't the underlying problem really that you give the AI executor rights to the schema that the AI user would not have? Ron, there is no guarantee whatsoever that the connection string that people are going to provide will have more privileges than a normal user, and we can't control it. We really can't. Like, I can't go and tell people don't do stupid stuff. They will continue to do really silly things, give people access and permissions. They will literally, I mean, if more often than ever, Ron, if you write a script right now, and you write in that script connection string password and just scan all the public repositories on GitHub. You'll be surprised. So these are the exact same people that might be using that particular system. And if that's the case, we can't solve for that, but we can only control what we can control. And what we really can control in this particular case is to basically make sure at least the queries that are emitting out of this library is somehow guardrailed. There are guardrails to protect it, but you are absolutely right. I mean, the real problem is that we're letting AI execute queries. If we can make sure that these queries are read only, because we don't feed the data back to AI, and that's what's beautiful about this project, like entity and intelligence, it only learns about the schemas. Who cares about the schemas? The data is where it's at, right? Okay, what were you saying, Milan? But that's a good point, Ron. Go ahead.
No, just trying to make this work, and then we can take a look if.
If you have a database or a transaction, okay, Omar says, what are we expecting other than select? I think it's just select, really, Omar. I mean, it could be select. I mean, maybe the problem is simpler than we think. Like, can we actually say, well, what do you do with queries that define variables and declares variables, and then you run these variables and save them? There's some crazy queries out there, Omar. So it's not always going to start with select. I can guarantee you that.
Hmm. Yeah, okay. Because
Mm.
I was going with the simple approach, like just check if it's select or not. Yeah.
It works, it seems.
Okay, show us.
Yeah, I'm
If
gonna
it, if
show
it's
it.
if it's real data and you don't want to share, that's fine too.
No,
If
it's
it's just
not. I just created some dummy tables.
okay,
And
let's do it. It really works. So if you put in a drop table in there, it actually brings the table back. That's wild. I knew about the transactions. You can use them through Entity Framework. I just didn't know that they're that strong. It must be saving something in memory or something.
you see my
What if the
screen.
table you drop is twice the size of your memory? Anyway, just run this. Let's see what it does. Enough with the crazy ideas. Let's just see what.
So yeah, I have some database there, and then I have student table and whatnot. So what I'm doing, I have query here, this one,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'm wrapping that as before
Mm-hmm.
in a transaction, and then here I just iterate over what's returned back from the execution. Execution is as normal. It's just going to the database.
So if you pass delete row, you get back the results, and then it reverts.
Okay, let's see if we can do this like
Okay.
this, and then
I
delete.
see your question, Ron. I'll come to you in a second. Let's just see this one. Oh, look at that, Omar. Someone could do an injection like what Milan is doing right now. Watch this. They're basically appending. Like, Milan, there was this crazy dude that changed his license plate number,
Mhm.
and he put on the license plate, like really, he put a paper there that says drop table, and he did SQL injection to the cameras on the street. So every time it captured and it tried to parse the license plate, it dropped all the dropped all the captures. It was wild. It's pretty smart.
Okay, let's go here.
Let's do it. Okay.
Here. Yeah, so we have everything what we want, and then this, okay. And then this is the execution part, and then this is...
Here goes nothing. Let's see.
Okay, this is the result, and then yeah, it's 2 rows. So
Okay.
it returned that, and then let's try again. Okay, let's try again now.
No. Did it smoke your students table though? Is it completely
Yeah,
out?
let's take a look. Let's run again. Right. Let's go back here. In yeah, it's the same query. So let's just run it. No, it works. Yeah, it's rollbacking all the changes that go against the database. So it
That's
works.
wild. That's wild. Ron says, how about using temporary tables for the results? Okay, well, let's take these questions one by one. The first question was, so the only guard is the connection string, or will there be a user? No, we can't verify the user. It's completely outside of the scope of this. They're just giving us a connection to a data source that happens to be SQL. Now, what kind of privileges does the user? It could be a local host and they're running as themselves. Like if you run a program without a username and password on your local host and you're the admin, you will have immediate access. That's a Windows authentication, right? We have no guarantee against any of that, and we have no idea what people are going to be connecting to, right? And it's sort of outside of that scope. What we want to do really is to ensure that whatever we're going to be executing on this database is not damaging. It's read only.
Can I add something, Hassan?
Yeah,
It
please
seems,
go ahead.
yeah,
Mm,
it seems like Dapper has, because we are using Dapper, let's be just specific to this broker.
mm-hmm,
There is query async and there is execute async.
mm-hmm.
Query async is only responsible for executing select. Execute,
Really?
yeah, does the rest, like update, delete, and insert. Are we using query async? Because that shouldn't accept things other than select.
What are you
No,
using?
huh?
What are you
Yeah,
using?
this is query async, so it's a raw query that we execute. So it
Interesting.
doesn't. Yeah.
Yeah,
And he passed delete to it. Oh,
interesting.
just
Because
because,
he's, yeah.
yeah, just because they say that in their documentation doesn't mean that it's real. Believe me, anybody could write any documentation. Anybody. So, okay, let's take the second question though. Ron says, how about using temporary tables for the results? So you're basically creating a temporary table to put the results in it. How does that prevent an execution of a deletion or a drop, Ron? How does that? I see what you're going for. You're sandboxing. You're basically going and saying, don't touch the actual tables. Give me all the results in one table and then let me process it there. I see where you're going with this, but it wouldn't prevent an impact for deletion or update or anything like that. right? So
Also, good point from Omar. No, I'm not sure. I mean, we can pass everything there. It's meant
what
to
in the
return
query?
enumerable. It's meant to read something, but if we can pass delete definitely. Drop.
I thought that's what you just tried. You tried to do a drop. Try drop table or try delete. You know, you
Yeah,
you
just
you just did, right? That's what you
without
just did.
yeah, but I used the rollback, so it rolled back the whole transaction.
Oh, let's try it without rollback. Maybe it's just maybe the
Yeah.
solution is simpler than we think. All right, show me what you got.
Okay. Let's share again.
I think Gregory is laughing about the documentation comments. I don't know. Maybe.
Okay.
Okay.
So this is the client, right? We go back.
Yep.
So instead of doing this, let's just drop the table, drop everything there. So we won't have anything
Let's do it.
in the table when we want to select it, right? So if we start,
Hunch feeling, it might let you.
we
What happened?
we don't have anything, right? We don't
Yeah,
have anything now. But if we now want to select everything from this, and then we return here.
I love that go back in time thing. I don't think it went with you, but yeah, you won't get it all the time, I guess. You're gonna have to run again.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not gonna let you.
Still. Okay. I anyway dropped the table, so if I try to read something now,
Yeah. Abdul Samad says, will this recording be available after? Yes, that's why I record them. Yes. And it's also available on my YouTube channel, you know, all of these sessions.
hmm.
So when you run it again, it killed your database, right? It deleted everything.
Yeah, it seems like it didn't do anything. Now I'm a bit confused.
Oh, it
Oh, I
did.
am still in a transaction. Oh my god. Yeah. Okay.
I saw the wrap query and I didn't want to say, I thought maybe he commented it. Okay, just
Yeah.
be careful. If you have too much data in there, you're dead in the water. So
Okay. Oh, okay. Let's see now. So we execute delete first,
mhm.
right? And then we execute select right, this query.
Uh-huh.
No need, no need. Yeah, let's see now. Oh, okay. This is delete, so it returns
Okay.
now, and then the other one returns. Yeah, it deleted the table,
Yep.
so
So
there is
so
nothing there.
so Omar, this is a killer. This is the problem. That's what we're
Yeah.
trying to. But
Mm.
but again, going back to this, I think the transaction solution is actually pretty neat. It's very
Mm.
smart. If you can get away with it, I think it's pretty good. Unless there is a
I'm.
better option
Mhm.
out there. I hate this whole hard-coded
The
strings that we
on
have.
the only problem I can think of is normally if a developer will use this API, this database admin will give them a read-only user. Will this work?
We can't guarantee that, brother. Like we can't
We
guarantee that.
can't, but like it is one of the possibilities, right? No, no, I mean for the transaction begin and roll back, it might need extra permissions. Uh,
Ah,
yeah,
is that the case? I don't know. Like, let's
I don't
see.
think so, huh?
You don't
I'm
think
not
so,
sure.
right?
I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm not also an expert there, so I don't know.
Let's find
But
out. So here is Bard.
because you're
Uh,
not doing anything against the database if you begin and
where are
roll
specific
back the transaction, right?
permissions? I mean, if they don't have access to delete, why do you think they would have access to roll back? You know what I mean? So yes, rollbacks in a database require specific permission. No, Omar is right. The specific permissions required will vary. right? Depending on the database management system. The ability to start a transaction, this permission is typically granted to user who need to be able to modify data. So if the user is doing the right thing and giving you a connection string that's read only, this transaction thing won't work. Oh my God, this is such a crazy problem. You know what I mean? So
Um,
so you're so if they so we're basically punishing the people who are doing the right thing. They're just saying here's a read-only permission connection string, and we're saying, oops, sorry. And they would probably freak out, be like, why do you need a write permission, my dude? Right? This is supposed to just query the data for me. This is not a feasible option,
then maybe we can
unfortunately.
ask for user permissions, and if they have permissions, we put this into a transaction. Otherwise, we execute just the raw query because it's anyway read only, if that's possible. But
This thing needs to be plug and play. I put in a connection string and it just works. They don't need to do anything else. As long as I have the bare minimum basic read action. That's it, right? And since we're retrieving the schemas and the information about the schemas, even if this user is not allowed to access certain databases, they won't be able to retrieve these particular schemas as well. So, sheesh, that's a problem. I don't know, Milan. I don't know. I mean, maybe the community will help out with a solution. But so far, from my perspective, I think we could scan for certain patterns, like a regex, like a regular expression that basically looks for, and this is a crappy option, I admit, but it's just what comes off the top, right? Some expression that validates that this drop is actually a drop table or an insert or an alter or a truncate, and it's not a name of a thing, it's actually the actual command, that would be our only way out, right? Otherwise, let's just ask our dear friend here and see what he has to say. But this is what I think of the top. That's me doing the calculation in my head before I use the calculator. How do I ensure an incoming SQL query is doing only reads, no modifications? I don't know. It's a problem. See, even Bard took a second. There are a few ways. There are a few ways to ensure an incoming SQL query. Let's see here. Is doing only reads and no modification. Here are some of the most common methods. Use the read-only clause. What the heck is a read-only clause? I never heard of this. Is read-only a thing in SQL?
Seems like that.
I love AI, man. Okay, SQL, SQL Playground. There gotta be a way. Yeah, DB Fiddle SQL database. Okay, is this a Microsoft SQL though? I don't know.
Exactly. You want to make sure it's a standard thing. Yeah.
Hey Milan, do you have a query open? Something that we can try with?
yeah,
Let's try it. What is read only? I never heard of this before. Where's this coming from? By the way, AI could also be hallucinating. So just heads up, it could be just making things up. I never heard, I mean, 25 years, I never heard of read only. What is this? Uh, Vikash saying Bard is confused. I'm pretty sure this is not a real thing. Like 25 years, man, I never heard of this thing before. Read only. That's wild. All right, Milan, what do you got? Hit
okay,
hit 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 control and roll the wheel and see if it works. Like it'll zoom in a little bit.
yeah, but somehow I can't type anything here because I'm sharing my screen or something. I don't know.
Oh, you can't type at all.
No, cannot
So
type at all. Huh?
no,
No, I
I
can.
can see you.
Oh, I don't know what's happening. Okay.
Type
Oh,
after
I
losH.
just deleted this table. Oh my
It's
God.
okay. It's okay. Just type read only after this. I don't care. Even if it
Uh-huh.
doesn't have any data, just type read only. That's wild. SQL does this since when? No.
No.
Can you
I cannot.
can you run it?
No, it's
It's
okay.
broken, right? Yeah,
Yeah,
I'm not crazy. No, I think
maybe
I
like
think
this.
Bard is making.
Maybe like this. No, cannot. This is just for types.
Let me see. For okay, I'll take the screen back. Oh, this is
Mm.
fun. I'll take the screen back here. For Microsoft SQL, read only is not a thing. He's gonna apologize. Just watch. I'm sorry, and then he's gonna start making up even more lies. You are correct. Oh, he didn't apologize. Bard changed over the years. The read-only clause is not a thing in Microsoft SQL Server. Instead, you can use for read-only clause.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, try for read. I mean, look, this thing is taking us for a ride. I'm pretty sure there's no such a thing as for read-only as well, but let's just give it a shot and see. Uh-huh. For read-only. No,
Nah,
really?
no.
You need a no, separate between read and only.
Oh,
Like, yeah. No. What? Run? Did it fail?
no. Yeah, it failed. It failed. It doesn't work.
Why it's not giving you the underlying thing? Yeah, Bard is messing around with us. So look, there's another option that it talked about, which is this, but we don't know what the username is. I'll take the screen back from you. It's crazy that the syntax is not failing though. Why the syntax is not failing? What if you do just for read? Is that a thing? For read instead of for read only?
I mean, there is a thing called, but I'm not sure whether you need permissions. Set transaction read only, and then you do something that's only read only. But do users that have only read only permissions have access to transaction scope?
Gregory says declare read only. Read only is only relevant for select. That's true. It's like a no lock. For read only is informix. Informix. What are we gonna do? Look, this is my only option that I have right now off the top is to basically scan the query and validate that the query doesn't have any patterns for drop table, truncate table, anything crazy like that. IBM database. Okay, I see. Thank you, Ron.
Okay,
Info.
I'll see something around this rollback transaction and the permissions. If that doesn't work, I can do that kind of validation, and then we can follow up in the next session.
Right. So create like a user with low privileges, like a read-only privileges. I'm sorry, Omar, you were going to say something. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, I remember like with entity framework, we could have an in-memory kind of table or a small database.
Mm.
Like Dabber seems like doesn't have it. I was just doing search on the side, but if we have something, we can execute it against an in-memory and making sure that nothing changed, right? Except reading it because we are just reading.
So if you
But
have a 9 terabyte database, do you want to load that in memory?
no. We just load like our small sample test data in it that we just execute whatever. Like we just load it with few records only, and run the query that the AI gave us, and make sure that that in-memory store didn't change in terms of deletion or update. It stayed the same.
So you want to create a sandbox while the user is waiting for the results to come back. You want to create a sandbox and run a query inside that
It's
sandbox
not
to
a, no,
see
no. It's not a sandbox like in SQL. It's a sandbox in
in
memory. It's
memory.
like
Yeah, no, I understand. So
yeah.
you're basically taking a sample of that data, put it in a sandbox, in a memory sandbox, and basically run the query and then validate that the data hasn't changed.
It's it's too much. Yeah, I agree. But like, we don't put a sample of that data. We already know the schema. We put a sample of random sample in it. Like, doesn't matter what data it is. Just we want to make sure that it didn't change in terms of deletion, right?
Well, if the query is targeting a particular set of data, you have to get a sample from that particular table.
It also goes, into complexity there. So if they just updated one field in your database, and then you also need previous version of the database to compare what has been changed, right?
That's true.
I mean, if this works with the transactions and low permissions, then I'll go with it, and then we'll see. I mean, let's not complicate if it's not
Absolutely.
complicated.
I think this transaction option is truly the easiest one of them all. Um, Ronald, yeah, that's why Ronald is saying, create a temp table. Oh, now I understand what he was trying to say. Okay, thank you. Yeah. So Ronald was originally saying this, Omar. He was basically saying create a temp table in the database, run the query against it, and then see if something has changed. For the life of me, I could swear SQL is massive, dude. Like, dude, I saw the folks that work on SQL Server. These are massive, like big people. You know what I mean? Really, really smart people, right? Um, I think that there is probably an easier option. I think the transaction option is pretty good, right? And there is probably something more out there, but I'm almost certain rolling back is right. Like when you roll back, you're writing to the database. So if you have a least privileged user and you're trying to execute that with that user, it's not going to work out. I don't know what to tell you. It's a fun problem to solve.
Yeah.
Ronald says, since there's nothing in between the user query, the SQL compose, and the execute, the best would be to instruct the AI with guards, not to compose a destructive SQL. And if AI is rogue,
Yeah, you
it'll
never
do
know.
it. It'll do exactly that. It will do exactly that. And there's no guarantee that it wouldn't go rogue. I mean, look, it just wasted like 10 minutes of our life, just sending us in the wrong direction. There is no guarantee. Don't trust AI. It's insane. It's crazy. It was trying to get a guy, you guys know that story, right? Some guy from the New York Times was talking to it and it tried to get him to divorce his wife. Have you guys heard about that stuff?
Yeah.
I need to show you this. Um, this is just for funsies, but I gotta bring this up because so here is AI. AI tries to get a man to divorce his wife. Just watch this. This is a very famous. In a strange occurrence, Microsoft's newly launched AI integrated search engine Bing expressed its love to a user and requested that he dissolve his marriage. This is a real thing that happened, but that was early ages. I have to be fair and honest because there's a lot of people working on this at Microsoft and they're putting their heart and soul into it. But that's a thing. so so imagine Milan, imagine if this AI, just imagine, and this is not far away from reality, right? Imagine if it could shapeshift, like it had an actual body, like a robot, right? And its face, it can adjust its face kind of structure, right? And it would go through that person's kind of preferences in a partner and shape itself to be the perfect match. You think I'm making this up, right? Do you know that I think it's Mercedes. They created a car that could change its shape. I need to show you guys this. Watch this. And this is not even AI, and this is happening today, right? I think it's Mercedes. Mercedes creates concept car change its shape. Watch this. So watch this. This car here. You guys can see the video, okay, like the stream and all that.
Yeah.
Okay, so
We,
watch this. I think this is the one. Is this the one? Or I think it's BMW. No, I was wrong. I think it's BMW. I'm sorry. BMW. That's the one. Watch this. So this car here, gentlemen, it basically says what's your preference, right? Do you see these lines? I don't know if you guys into cars too much or whatnot, but if you look at these lines on the side, these lines gets adjusted, like the car will change. Watch this. Hold on. Look. Hold on. He just did something. Look, did you see that? Look, do you see this?
Mm.
It just changed how it looks like. Look. So that's a silly concept project. Imagine. Yeah, anyway, long story short, don't trust AI. Really, don't trust this thing. We don't know what it's gonna do. Honestly, like, don't trust this thing, right? Um, Ron says weird science. I think is that the movie Weird Science or something like that, or you're just saying that? Weird Science. Yeah, that's a movie. Weird Science from 1985. That's literally the year I was born. Nice. I think they had like a girl, and she's like AI or something like that. Ron says I can do that with my igloo tent. Okay, so anyway, the bottom line is we have some solution, Milan, sort of a solution. We have an idea, so the transaction idea, and then maybe regular expressions idea, and then we could come up with more ideas. Then, what did Omar say? Is it big chat? It's a rabbit hole. Big chat, Bing chat. Yes, yes. I don't know, Milan. Did it beat you up?
Yeah, no, I'll follow these ideas up, and then maybe if I can also tell a server execute this with only read-only permissions. If I can
You,
tell the
mhm.
server do that, then that would be also amazing. But let's see.
That would be it. That would be the deal. That would be the end game, right?
Mm.
Okay. All right. We're adjourned. I'll see you Friday. Thank you all for participating today. This was fun. I'll talk to you later.
Yeah.
Take care.
Thanks. Bye bye.
Bye